guys, ILene Vick here for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. It is Monday, August 2nd at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I am live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see everybody. Welcome to my Facebook peeps who come into the room and chat. Love ya. So much fun to talk. Good to see everybody. And welcome to my Facebook lurkers as well. I hope you learned something and I hope you have fun. And guys, please tell your friends. Yes, I can see you, Wanda. Thank you. Perfect. And welcome to my YouTube peeps who pop up and watch me on YouTube. Good to see everybody. Hi, Rhonda. Good to see ya. Alrighty. Hopefully that will be the only bugaboo. Hello, Harriet. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Harriet, you're funny. I said say something and she says something. Oh, good one. All right. Okay, and I'm going to remind you, tomorrow, guys, Dawn will be here, and we're going to do a duet coloring, and we're going to do the turtle. Zoom out. Da-da-da-dum. She's the author, Dawn Denise Boyer, PhD. And we are going to be doing the turtle. Let me get that little puppy up. Now, she has supplied this image. Hi, Ashley. She supplied this image in our group, in the files. So download it. And you can color along. Alrighty. Da-da-dum. So somebody tell me something positive that happened to them today. I always try very hard to not say how are you doing, because then we all get caught up in that I'm fine stuff. And it may not necessarily be the case. Don't you guys love those apples? Oh gosh. Hi, Clarissa. Hello, Sandy. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Okay. So let's go ahead. I want to show you some things. Oh, and that was a siren going by. Okay, so I'm continuing over on the second page. This is Enchanted Forest. I probably will not be doing anything on it tonight. And what I did last night is I went through and I colored in between all the individual leaves. Had a little bit of an oopsie right here. Now, I had to change pencil brands because I ran out of pencil on the original color. Oh, but that happens. I may go ahead and just put a little bit of mineral spirits on it just to blend that out a little bit because it's looking a little bit scratchy. But other than that, not too bad. And again, I know that you guys, I told you I added this stencil here, the rose. I'll be working on that red part to get the dimension on it. I drew in the little boy and girl on the swing. And I added a couple of these little flourishes here, these little oval alien things. So the whole point of all this is you might want to consider on some of your pieces stencils. Particularly silhouette, I call these silhouette stencils. Because of course they make a silhouette. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And as you'll recall, I made a major oopsie right here. That should have been green because it's a leaf. But I made it into sky. I still added the veins and I still made the leaf up here. Zoom in. Harriet says she got a castle art portrait set as a birthday gift. Oh, Harriet, when's your birthday? How cool is that? Oh, it was last week? Okay, guys, everybody ready for this? Join in with me. Harriet, this is for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy belated birthday to Harriet. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Happy belated birthday, Harriet. Oh, a coworker got you those. Ooh. All righty. Happy birthday. Hey, I even made those birds be quiet so we could sing that for you. Oh. You know how hard it was to quiet those birds? I'm telling you, they're pesky little things. Woo. You're welcome, Harriet. All right. This is what we do in the group. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to set that little puppy aside. I'm glad you enjoy the nature sounds. And Wanda, I don't know if you heard me the other night, I sank the ship for you. No more creaking boat. It is sunk. But in all seriousness, if there's anything that I play that bothers you, you've got to let me know. Just send me a text and say, hey. Don't be embarrassed. Okay. I'm just looking at this, just trying to decide if I need to do anything. I think we're good. I happen to really love classic movies, and I subscribe to a thing called Classics. And I watch them while I color free on these after I upload video. Okay. Now, I want to show you something. Wanda, you got your Brett Funner pencils, the 520 set? Really? Oh, no, not Wanda. I'm sorry. Sandy did. Sorry, Wanda. I saw Wanda's name on Sandy's comment. Oh, Sandy, wonderful. Sandy, is it the 520 set? It is, because you said that you ordered them. Good. Okay, I want to show you guys something. Rhonda was asking how to color metallic. And so I went ahead and I colored the apples in metallic colors. But they ended up looking like plums. So these are my metallic plums. Yes, you can laugh at me. So that was kind of funny, but it really gives you an idea about how to do it. And I will do more metallic because Rhonda is working on her knights, which have metal on it, and I want to see what she does with them, Rhonda. Now, there's another little trick that I want to show you guys. This picture here, if you have a copier, is actually this copy. So, if you have a book that only has one copy and you didn't make it before you started coloring on it. Oh, good, Rhonda. You can take your colored piece and copy it, and you will get this. Without the coloring, of course, because that's what I added. So there's a little tip for you. So this book right here, this Adorable Animals, only has one of each thing. And I wanted to show Rhonda how to do the metallics. Oh, Dorothy got her Adorable Animal books today. Super. So all you have to do, if you only have one image and you've already started to color on it like I did, make a copy of it even with the colors and you will get a good grayscale. Okay, everybody clear on that? Hopefully that'll help somebody. Okay, cool. Dorothy, wonderful. Glad to hear it. Anybody have any questions before I start rolling on this one? Meaning coloring. Da-da-da. Let's see here. So last night I was working on a number of things, actually. Da, 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 da. She has another good book. What is it, Sandy? I can go ahead and add it to the affiliate list. All right, let me get my little paper towel here. And Sandy, if you'll text me that title, I can go, like I said, I'll go ahead and add that to our affiliate. Okay. Da, 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 da. So I'm going to go ahead and start in with my dark. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. It's called Color Sweet Animals Don't Have It Yet. Okay, yeah, send me a text, will you? Okay, so I'm going ahead and starting with my darker colors. And like I said, you don't have to start with your darker. Yeah, the one I have is Adorable Animals Grayscale. Jane Maday. Yep, yep, yep. Zoom in. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to thank everybody who contributed to Samantha Dingwall and her kids for her books. It was at $9 or whatever you could send. She is now fully funded. She is so excited. And I want to thank you guys for coming through. I don't make it a habit at all to ask you guys to fund stuff like that, but that was a particularly I felt important one. It's kids, you know. Okay, so here I'm going in with my darkest purple, deep purple. And while I'm thinking of it, guys, for those of you that are doing grayscale, you have got to work on your blending. Whenever you color in grayscale, you've got to blend, blend, blend. All of your grayscale should be smooth as a baby's behind. And you should have a nice transition from one area to the next. And don't forget that if you want, you can add areas of your own. and little flourishes of your own. To make it your own piece. All right. Now, just to show you, Sandy said your kids thought you were nuts when you told them you bought 520 pencils. Hey, have at it. Okay, so just for giggles and laughs, I'm going to color in my lighter areas. Because I want you to see that this works different ways. And it totally just depends on what you want to do. Now, I want you to notice that I'm taking my lighter pencil and I'm blending it back into the darker that I already put in. Zoom out. And this is where some of you are still having... Hi, Helen. She says, can be handy when you do grayscale, have a copy of the piece at the side for comparison of their shade in case people go over too dark or light. Yeah. And I want you to see on this grayscale, like I said, I'm going over where I colored in the darker pieces. And that's helping everything blend together. Now, it's a little awkward for me to jump to doing the light portion because I normally don't do it at this time. But I want to do it for you so that you can see. Helen, what have you been up to these days? Zoom in. And again, notice that I'm going over my darker part here. You've got to blend in your colors, guys. It's critical. Okay. And what I want you to see, you want that merging to look almost, I got to come up with a word for you, foggy. Blurred. That's the word I want. You want all your colors to blend in so that they blur together. Zoom out. You're drawing, and now the big house clean because family's coming at the weekend. Yay! I'm so glad that you're not in the lockdown where you can't have family. Okay. Melba says she's swatching mine right now, putting them in order as I challenge, but well worth it. Happy coloring. Okay. I'm so glad you watch us while you're doing that kind of stuff, Melba. Fun. So remember, when you're doing grayscale, you want your light, you want your medium. Hello, Rita. Hello, Pearl. Helen says it's still a cautious thing, but not seeing them for a year. Oh, how long are they going to stay, Helen? So when you're doing grayscale, the rule of thumb is you get your light, your medium, and your dark pencils for a few days. Good. And color in your respective areas. Now, I'm going to say this again and again and again and again. If this were line art only, and I've colored side by side on line art, guys. Line art and grayscale. I did it with some hobos. Do a search in the group under the word hobos. And I literally did side-by-side coloring for you. Pearly, pearly, pearly. So with grayscale and line art, grayscale shows you what you should be doing in line art. With all the subtle shading in the edges and the darker parts and the lighter parts. Hi, Amy. Amy says she has a later shift tonight. I got off at 7:30. Probably won't be on, just saying a quick hello. Hello, Amy. So I'm going to take a little bit of mineral spirits because I've got a lot of popcorn, and I'm just going to put a little bit on here. To get rid of that. Now, when you're blending with mineral spirits on grayscale, you just want to blend your individual colors, because if you blend the whole thing together, you're going to lose everything. Well, thank you, Helen. I'm glad you like the apples. So be sure when you blend grayscale with mineral oil that you stick to each individual color. Zoom out. So when you say bronze apples, what do you mean bronze? Now, the neat thing is once you put mineral spirits down on your paper and you go back in with your pencil, you're going to have a little bit of that mineral spirit left, and it's still going to blend in and color smoothly. Does that make sense? The mineral spirits is on the paper in the wax, and I can still feel it on here because it just has a different feel. And I've also been known to dip the tip of my pencils in a little bit of mineral spirits and coloring an area. You got to be careful with it. Yeah, that's probably the yellow. I put yellow in the apple. Zoom out. There you go. Anybody have any questions about what I'm doing? Okay, and I'm just fixing okay, now when you mean blend lightly, every layer you're in effect blending. Wanda, do you want to answer that question? Sometimes I blend per layer, sometimes I blend, it just depends. I don't mean to be ambiguous, but if I'm doing touch-up, for example, I'll still go ahead and blend. When you color in grayscale, it's a constant blending of your layers because you want your layers to work together. So I'll do spot blending sometimes, I'll do overall blending. It just depends what I think needs a color, working on color. Exactly. Wanda says she blends with pencils as she goes, but if I want to blend with spirits, I try to wait till I'm finished coloring the area. Yeah. And see, I'm basically done with the shirt. So now I'm going in and just touching it up and blending it a little bit with some spirits. Just to finish off any areas. Guys, the thing that you need to understand when you're coloring is you need to color and blend based on what the area needs. So if Wanda and I are telling you that we don't blend with mineral spirits until we're at the very end, that's a good rule of thumb. But if for some reason you need to use a little bit of mineral spirits in between, that's fine too. Remember the example I gave you in driving a car, that we're both starting on the East Coast and our task is to drive to the West Coast. We're both driving, but we may use different maps and directions. So this tie now, this bow tie where I'm basically finished, I'm dipping this bow tie where I'm basically finished. I'm dipping my pencil in a little bit of the mineral spirits. And I'm using that to blend in now these areas. Zoom in. And I'll use my light pencil on the light areas, and I'll use my darker pencil on the darker areas. This is where also, hold on, let me grab something here. I have a box full of little I call them Q-tips. Exactly, be careful not to blend away your shadows and highlights with your spirits. These are double pointed swabs, Q-tips, whatever you want to call them. And I also have the ones that have the paddle and the sharp point on opposite ends. So I have both. And that's exactly right what Wanda mentioned. Be careful that you don't blend away your individual colors. And when you blend like this, you dab off the majority of the blender. And then touch it up. Everybody see how that's smoothing out that tie? Now, what I'm doing, yes, Wanda says I've got some of those with the different ends and they're great for getting in small areas, exactly. So I'm going to roll this point over. And then I'm going to start blending my areas. Everybody see that? And sometimes what I'll do to save my cotton swab, I'm just going to call these Q-tips, is I'll blend my light area first and then I'll go into my dark. So I do my light and then I do my dark, and I never reverse that. Can everybody see how nice and smooth that's getting now? Wanda says she uses a different one for each color. Yeah, I roll mine over, but yeah, either way. And guys, this brings up a really good point, and I want you to take this to heart. When you are trying out something relatively new to you like this, now if you need to go back and touch up your color, you can. And you can see now how this tie is getting softer and softer. Okay, but here's my point. If you're learning this as something new or a new technique and you go to try it, I don't want you guys to get disappointed because something goes wonky with it. You're not necessarily going to get it 100% right out of the gate. Now, if you do, hey, more power to you. That's wonderful. By the way, see how I'm adding this little highlighting and like a little cane on top of this scarf, and then the back of it recedes. Guys, it's like driving a car for the first time. You just got to learn it, and you'll get your techniques down. Okay. I gotta quit fussing with this. And if you notice an area that's not quite blended right, you can go ahead and throw a little bit of more color in there if you have to. And then go back with your blending. Now, this is something on this bow tie that I would normally do after the fact, after I've got most of it colored. I'm just not doing it now because I want to walk through my different areas here. For example, showing you the apples, but I will show you, consider this to be fine-tuning. Zoom out. And if you want to test how well your fine-tuning is going, prop your piece up somewhere and walk away from it, and everything should blend together beautifully and look soft. If it doesn't, that just means that you're going to have to tweak it a little bit more. Right now, the dark around this scarf is not blended in correctly. It's too stark. Anybody have any questions or comments about that? And again, my style of coloring is I like to do an area and then I'll go back and tweak it to what I want it to be. All right. Your style may be that you color like the hat and then you would tweak it until you're happy with it and then move on to another portion. For me, I like to see how all the colors are coming out in relationship to each other. Wanda, how do you do yours? Do you finish an area and then move on, or do you color an area to be, 90% there or 98% there and then go back and tweak it? And guys, I want you to remember that analogy of driving the car across the country. You'll go one route, I'll go another. But we'll all both end up in the same place using the proper methods, following, you know, the rules of driving, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Let me put my mineral spirits away. Okay, Wanda says she'll color an area till it's done most times. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and work on one of these flowers down here since we've got a different color. Anybody have any questions, guys? Don't hesitate to ask. So I'm going to work on oranges, I think. And I'm also going to color in a little bit of yellow. Zoom in. Zoom in. Oh, Harriet says she ordered... Oh. So I'm going to start in on the flowers right here. Give you a new area to look like. Harriet says she ordered this book. Arrives tomorrow. I plan to start with the apples. All right, now I'm going to work with 4 colors on this flower, and I'll show you why. I'm planning on using my light, medium, and dark orange, but I want to tip this flower in yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and add little spots of yellow on here. Did everybody catch my analogy about the car and driving the car across the country? I adjusted my headset and I'm not sure it came through. Okay, now the little center yellow or flowers here, I'm going to make yellow. Harriet, this page is from the book itself. I did not make a copy onto cardstock. Kind of kicking myself that I didn't, but you know, no big deal. The paper is pretty substantial. And what I want you to notice too, since I'm adding this yellow, is I'm just adding it, like here, this is the complete light spot, which would be my light orange, but I'm also going to tip it in yellow. So Harriet would take Route 66. Melba says, I live close to Route 66 in Oklahoma. I always want to travel Route 66 from beginning to end. There you go. Take your coloring supplies with you. Okay, so I've opted to outline a little bit in yellow. So I'm going to start now with my darker orange. Zoom in. Now, I'm taking a little poetic license with this piece, and I'm opting to concentrate my darker orange in the very center here. And I'll bring it out a little bit on some of my petals. Oops. Hold on, made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. Hey, boo-boo. Now, if you ever have to erase on grayscale, be very careful, because some of the inks in the books will not withstand that erasing, and you'll pull it up with you. So you've got to test your pages. All right, can everybody see the mediums and the light parts of this flower? So now I'm going to go with my medium. And notice how I'm always coloring in the shape of the petal. So even though I eventually end up covering the whole thing one way or another, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you, get you. I still color within the curvature of the petal. And again, I want you to think of this as though you're painting. Okay. La da da dum. One of you mentioned that this was the theme to Forrest Gump. I didn't know that. Don't forget, turn your pencil a little micro turn as you color. Keeps your point from getting flat on one side. Now the color difference between my dark and my medium is very subtle, but it's there. And you will definitely see it. Hold on, gotta grab a little bit of dark here. And then we'll blend in that medium. Zoom out. Zoom out. See how that's looking so far? All right. zoom in, zoom in. Now this is where I'm going to start to blend and smooth in my colors. And notice how I'm adding my last color. This is where I'm overlapping on the edges of my previous color. You don't want that stark difference between them, right? And this is where a couple of you are having a little bit of trouble, is you're not overlapping your colors. You've got to blend those edges in. What you need to be doing is starting, an 1/8 or a 1/16 of an inch on top of your previous color. You've got to blend them together, guys. Remember how on my mushroom I started in the darker and brought it out? See how I'm doing that? So I've got my darker color here, darker orange, and I'm starting in a little ways and I'm bringing that out now and smoothing it. And here's a good example right here where I have a larger area. Is I'm pulling in that color from the edge, from the darker color, and pulling it forward so that it blends. But don't overlap too far. So in other words, don't swing the other way. Okay. Now this is where you can go back. Oh, missed an area. I did. And if you have an area that's got a lot of that popcorn in it, which I do, This is where you go back with your respective color and blend that in. This is where your layering comes in. So right now on this medium color, I've got that popcorn. I need to smooth that out. And do not lose track of where you put your light, your medium, and your dark. Because you don't want to be putting a dark over your medium. Yeah, I'll color that petal in the center. Yep. Yeah, popcorn does sound good, doesn't it? Doesn't help that I keep mentioning that, does it? And again, guys, this is where your layering is going to come in. Because now you're going to start to get that richness of your color. Now I'm going to touch up a little bit with my yellow. And that's also going to blend and smooth my flower. And the thing is once you've laid down your initial palette of your colors, that gives you a roadmap as to where, hi Rebecca, that gives you a roadmap now of where to go back in and to fine tune and smooth. Does that make sense? It's just like you're tinting on line art and coming in lighter. And now I'm going back in and fine tuning where I want what. And I'm using this to get rid of any of that popcorn effect. Isn't that beautiful? And then as Helen is talking about, or Juan is talking about, 90% gray would look great in the deep areas of the flower petals to distinguish them. That's correct. Now, once you get to this stage of coloring, you've got to be careful that you don't overblend, because it's just going to get gray and muddy. Let me do the center first. Hold on. Zoom in. Zoom in. And now I'm going to go in and carefully color in the center. Now, if you're projecting your image onto your TV, for example, this is where you can look at your TV while you're coloring, and that will help you, or, you know, on your monitor, and that's going to help you get into these teeny tiny areas because it's enlarging what you're coloring. It's going to be a little awkward at first to do that, but just use it as a guide. Okay. Now I've got a little bit of white. This always amuses me, because whenever white shows up, it shows up like a sore thumb. So you want to fix that. Okay. Zoom out. Good night, Melba. So glad you could join us. All right, give me a moment, guys. And again, any areas that you see that need to be softened and merged, soften and merge them. And then what you're going to do is take the 90% gray, if you're using Prismacolor, and you see me do this with hair. You want to very, very lightly, I mean just kiss, just gently butterfly kiss the page. And you're going to add a little bit of gray. Inside the crevices of your leaves, petals, excuse me. And you're going to start to see those pop up. And I promise you, you don't need much. That's right, ever so gently with the gray. I mean, I'm barely touching the page. This is one of those, a little goes a long way. Rita says, good night, Melbs. I love it, M-E-L-B-S. We've got Pearly, we've got Melbs, we've got Wandy. Now, what I like to do when I'm doing this is I'll bring out my gray just a little bit. So I'll take like 2 or 3 strokes next to the petal, and then I'll come out like with 1 or 2 strokes. You see how I'm doing that? And that's correct what Melba or Wanda is saying, is that your bottom petals are will actually be a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm actually going to very lightly tint my bottom petals with the gray. Just barely, but I want you to see how that's going to start to bring them out. Everybody see that? Questions? So next to the upper petal, I'll have it just slightly darker. It's like you're making a shadow. You're making a shadow with it, guys. Everybody see that? If I quit moving around. So I misspoke. Maybe 7 or 8 touches around the petal itself, and then on this bottom petal I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Zoom out. Look at that, guys. Do you see it? For example, if you look right here, that looks like a shadow that's coming from this petal. The gray gives it depth. Exactly, Harriet. So we're accomplishing two things here. We're gently outlining the petals with the gray to separate them. And then the lower petals, we're adding a little bit of shadow from the petal above. And notice I'm holding my pencil near the end. And again, Harriet, I am barely touching this paper with this pencil. The shading and the color comes from the repeated strokes, not from jamming your pencil into the paper. And you guys have got to learn that. Do you see now how that flower is popping up all of a sudden on this bottom part? I haven't even touched the top yet. Do you guys see that difference? Okay, so let's get some top petals here. I want you guys to really look at this difference now between the bottom part and the top part as to how that's really popping out now. Okay, Lori, first of all, it doesn't matter about the colors. You go with what comes up if you have to. And as far as getting the colors right, if it looks mushy, that just means that you've over blended it and put too many, you kept going too far with your colors. Listen guys, I'm sure Wanda will even tell you that she's intended one thing with her stuff and her colors, and it actually started going in a different direction. If it goes in a different direction, don't fight it, okay? Go with it. I won't speak for Rhonda. She can answer. Yeah, she's answering that. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of gray, that gray, and I'm going to concentrate near the center. Guys, you have to quit forcing your colorings to what you intended. If your coloring comes out, I'm going to blend this with my finger a little bit. If your coloring comes out as you intended, that's great. Okay, Lori says, I know, but the colors I use fought each other. Yeah. And that can happen. Everybody see now how that flower is absolutely popping. And if you need to go back a little bit and take care of any popcorn, fix it. Okay, now I want you to watch something. I'm going to zoom in. Zoom in. So you took a picture of the flowers, Lori, and then worked off of that? Okay, now look. You see this flower petal right here? I want you to watch something. I'm going to take my gray and I'm going to color inside of that petal. And I want you to watch what happens while I do that. See how I'm coloring around this edge? And right before your eyes, that becomes a lip. Do you see it? And that's because I'm coloring the inside of this area gray, the darker gray. And as Wanda said, the 90% gray, you don't want to use black because black will take it off in a direction you don't want very quickly. Do you guys see now how that looks concave? Because I colored that rim darker and then blended it in. Everybody see that? Yes or no? And if you want, you can take a little bit of white or yellow and hit that rim to make it lighter. Zoom out. So right now that looks like an inverted petal. Do you see it? Zoom in. Zoom in. Now, if you have this yellow that's too stark for some reason, which this is right there, I'm using my lightest orange and I'm going to tone it down. By going on top of it. Now, I did not plan on making that inverted petal, but I did it for you guys so you could see what your different shading does. Now, this edge right here, I'm going to lighten that because I'm losing my petal. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that with a little yellow. There we go. Zoom out. Questions, comments? And notice I'm going over my yellow with my lightest orange on those areas that I feel are a little too bright. No biggie. Now, this does not mean that I automatically want you to go over your bright, yellow parts. I'm just doing it for this piece. See this one area, this one petal right there that looks out of place? Zoom in. Right here. I'm just going to mute that a little bit with my lightest orange. You see how I did that? I'm not going to do it on my innermost flowers because, or petals, because I want those to be the brightest. There you go. Not difficult, guys. And I walk you through the explanation on all this stuff. Zoom out. All right, let's look at this whole thing now in relation to the piece. What do you think? Do you like it? Yes, no, maybe. Again, you know that I have absolutely no ego about this. And I'm going to take my red. Wanda, you got popcorn, didn't you? You were cooking it in the microwave. Any questions about how that flower and that petal look? Now, conversely, if you lose your color like I did here, like I said, I'm just going to hit that with a little more yellow on this one. And I will tell you, there comes a point where you just can't do anything anymore on it and shouldn't. Because you're going to overblend your colors and you're going to start looking mushy. So at this point, except for doing a little bit of rubbing with my finger, I would leave it alone. Thank you, Wanda. Okay, any questions or comments? So I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves around it, just so we can oomph this a little. So I'm going to put a little yellow on the stem. And then I'm going to come back with a nice light brown. Zoom in. Now again, if your pencil doesn't play well with your paper for some reason and that brown got speckly, I'm just going to touch it with my blender pencil. And you can also go over it with your original yellow if you like. All right. I'm just noticing a little popcorn on here, so I'm just going to touch that up. Alrighty, so let's work on the leaves around it so you can start getting perspective. Now, unless I hear differently, I need to hear from you guys as to what you think about coloring the flower. Do you feel more comfortable doing something like this? Rhonda says yes. And everybody else is silent. Don't let it intimidate you. You can say no. I'm not going to get upset. I really am not. I ask you these questions so that I can get an idea and judge if my methods are getting across to you. Now, one of the things I want you to notice too that I do, so here are my darks. You notice how I sweep with my pencil? S-W-E-E-P. I'm not sitting here making sure that I color every little tiny dark spot without going over the edges. You want to sweep past your areas. Oh, Harriet, I'm so glad you could be here. Good night, good night, good night. Harriet, how are you feeling about coloring that flower? You still feeling a little intimidated by it? Or do you feel comfortable with it? Okay, there's my dark green. Good night, Harriet. Good night, Harriet. Oh, she hadn't thought of the gray. She says good, she's feeling good about it. Okay. Well, Harriet, you have a great day tomorrow. Now, do you guys notice how I am coloring freely with this? I'm already popping over my dark color to blend it. Zoom in. I don't want you guys coloring this stuff and being stiff about it. So there's my light and my medium. I'm sorry, my dark and my medium. And now I'm going to come in with my light. And for the most part, I'm staying in my light areas. Now, I may take a couple of swipes. Notice that I'm going to back blend over my medium green. So I'm merging all my colors together. I don't want you guys to get fussy about when you color. I don't want you thinking that you have to stay exactly inside of your areas. Zoom out. So I'm going to go back with my dark a little bit. And gently, just like I'm using that gray that Wanda was talking about, and I'm going to gently expand my darker parts of the leaf. Remember, you don't want harsh lines, no wire hangers. Everybody see that? Okay, let's go over here. Zoom in. Now, if it helps you, you may want to put on your dark last. And the reason that I say that, you might want to go medium light and then dark, is because that way it'll keep you from making stiff lines on your paper. And by that I mean you don't want streaks of your dark color. Everybody see that? Just like everything else, when you put your dark on there, you want to blend it out. So in other words, I don't want a stiff dark line down the center here. You want it blended out a little. This is why I don't want you being robotic when you shade in on grayscale. If you are robotic and you do nothing but just, you know, color in the little areas, your pieces are not going to look beautiful like Rhonda's piece did with the hobo and her boats. Okay. I accidentally reversed my colors. That's okay. All right, notice how everything is getting blended together now. That dark goes seamlessly into my next color. And you see now how that dark green is starting to dissipate. and meld and merge in with my other colors. That's what you want on grayscale. Grayscale is a closer representation of colors. And that's why you want to blend your colors as much as possible. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to my first leaf. And I'm going to go back to my medium color and color over my light a little bit, because I want to blend this better. You can blend with a medium color. You don't have to just blend with your light. Use your judgment. Zoom out. Zoom out. And if you're getting that little popcorn effect, actually this is not popcorn, it's wax buildup. You can go ahead and take your pointy Q-tips and a little touch of your mineral spirits, zoom in and fix it. Now, if you are perfectly happy with your colors, you don't have to use your mineral spirits. Good night, Lori. I'll be on for another 45 minutes. And if you have a little too much mineral spirits on there, put a paper towel on there and pat it once, straight down, do not rub. So Wanda, you only use mineral spirits when you have to on your colorings, right? Or do you use your mineral spirits as a method of coloring? Zoom out. Only when you have to. Okay. All right. Da-dum. Let me grab some water, excuse me. So I'm thinking I want to go ahead and work on that bucket because that's really going to give us a good bearing on the rest of this. Zoom in. So let me get some colors here. I'm looking for a light, a medium, and a dark brown. Da-dum-da-dum. All right. Dark brown. Dorothy. And again, guys, I'm not jamming my pencil into the paper. This is where a lot of you will make mistakes, is that you feel that you have to shove that pencil into the paper, and what you really should be doing is just doing repeated strokes until you get the intensity that you want. And I want you to notice, like I said, I'm wiggling my pencil a little bit underneath this rim where my darkest brown is. And notice how that creates a beautiful effect as well. Relax, guys. Just let it flow. Zoom in. So I have a little bit, for example, of shadow underneath here from the bucket metal. Put a little brown underneath there. You've got to quit forcing your pencils and forcing your color. It's going to trip you up every time. what I want you to start doing is I want you to color to the image and not color to the spot. Does that make sense? Yes, no? If you fixate on your spot, and say, oh, I've got a dark spot, so I got to cover every inch of that dark, and I got to color it in a certain way, your coloring is going to become mechanical. And you won't get that nice flow. Oh yeah, Dorothy. She says, I think I'll start on a sample in the book before I start this beautiful picture. Okay, sure. When you color, guys, I want you to use your brain. And I want you to color towards what looks good to you and what makes sense to you. Okay. Rhonda, is what I'm telling you making sense? Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see it because it's pretty tiny, but this handle right here is curving around, so I'm just being a little careful here. Now, I'm not sure what this is right here, so I'm going to sit tight on that. I believe it's part of the shirt. Yeah, and that's okay to do section by section, sure. Okay, so let's go up into our curved part. And remember, I'm still doing my dark. And sometimes it's going to look a little splotchy. but at some point in time it will make sense. Okie dokie. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to put a little dark underneath the bottom of the bird. Be careful, you don't want to lose those nice little feathers. If you accidentally lose the feather spikes, just go back and fix it. Okay, I think I've got all my dark areas put in. So now I'm going to grab my medium. And get my medium in. Now again, notice I'm going over my dark areas with the medium. Not hard, because you don't want to lose the dark, but you don't want to butt up that medium, but the color of the medium next to the dark. You want them to come together. Zoom in. See how I'm coloring in the medium now, but that dark is still staying there and looking really cool. Trust me, when you go over the top of it, you don't lose it. Now, if you go over it too much, you're going to spread that medium, spread the dark to the point that it gets mushy. And that's where you will develop that touch as to when to stop blending. Right, Wanda? See how my dark lines are still there, but now my medium color has melted together with it and it looks really cool. It's there, it really is. And Wanda, feel absolutely free just to, pop in with your comments and suggestions as well. I love it. Wanda, I really appreciate how helpful you've been to the group in talking about how you're doing some of your coloring. Now, I'm just taking my red and just popping up that a little bit. Hello, Kathy. Okay, so I've got my medium color right here. I'm leaving my areas for my lightest colors. Notice how I'm lightly blending over the top of my dark colors. While I'm placing my medium colors down. Is this view too close for you guys? Or is it helping you? Notice how I'm coloring over my dark. See that? And it doesn't go away. That's the neat thing with colored pencils, guys. Ronnie, hi. Now, depending on your quality, the quality of the coloring book and the printing, Ronnie, you've been gone way too long. Sometimes you may have a hard time seeing the distinguishing between the dark and the light grays. The dark, the medium, and the light grays. Don't panic. Do the best you can. Follow what you can. And then color it in a way that makes sense to you. Okay? See that little gap right there? That's going to be my light. Ronnie, you've really been away too long. We miss you. Oh my gosh, Ronnie, I know, just a lot going on. I'm in the hospital right now. Should get discharged tomorrow. They thought it was a heart attack. Oh, Ronnie. I am so sorry to hear that, but good news about the discharge tomorrow. So I'm going to take a moment to stop. Lord God, I'm going to pray for you, Ronnie. In the holy name of Jesus Christ, we pray for Ronnie getting better quickly and that the doctors have solved her issues as to what this is. They're telling her they thought it was a heart attack. Lord God, I ask you, please, 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 resolve this with her, give her health and well-being. We don't want to hear of this, anything like this with our members. Lord God, she's been in the hospital since Saturday evening. So all day Sunday, all day Monday, and discharge on Tuesday. Lord God, please take care of her, bless her, and heal her. In the holy name of Jesus Christ, amen. Ronnie, how do you feel? How are you feeling right now? So now I'm using some of my medium brown. Notice, do you see how I'm blending that off this corner where I've got the thumb of the glove? Isn't that cool? Look at that. And notice how I'm going back over that dark brown and pulling it forward. You're tired, you can't walk without having chest pains. Oh. But yet they're discharging you tomorrow? Okay, notice how I'm bringing my medium brown now across where my dark brown is. And I'm going to bring that right up close to this wood. And actually I'm going to change something a little bit on this handle. So I'm carefully pulling off that brown. I'm a little surprised that they're still going to discharge you even if you're tired and can't walk without having chest pains. But I'm so glad you could come in and join us. Okay, does everybody see now how I'm bringing in my different shades of brown on this bucket? Okay, let's get the bottom part. I'm going to turn this page. And notice that I'm coloring in where I feel that the medium brown is. Turning my pencil and going right over my dark brown. And notice how by going over that dark brown, that is merging beautifully with that medium and giving it a beautiful, beautiful tone. Zoom out. Ronnie, are you still okay? Okay, Ronnie, good. So just lay back and watch and enjoy. Zoom out. Look how beautiful that bucket looks, guys. Okay, now zoom in. I'm going to come in with my lightest brown. And fill in my remaining areas. Isn't that beautiful? Hubby says you need to color more. I agree with him. You do need to color more. I say that in all seriousness too. If you're under so much stress that that's causing you chest pains and heart attack, I'm not joking. Okay, does everybody see now? You spent 12 hours one day doing nothing but coloring. When did you do that? Was that recently or in the past? I'm not joking, Ronnie. If you're under that much stress that it's putting you in the hospital, you should be doing something like that. Okay, everybody see now how this brown, Amy, a couple of weeks ago you colored, okay. Everybody see now how that very light brown is merging in beautifully with my medium and my dark brown. Now, trust me, that medium brown is there, but when you color in your lightest brown, it merges it in beautifully. And this is one of those things where I tell you that your eyes may not necessarily see the color difference, but your brain does. You need to go. Time to take meds. Good night, Ronnie. So that medium brown that you put in here is still there. And my light brown now that I'm putting in now is complementing it. And there's a subtle shade of color there. Guys, you've got to realize the grayscale coloring is all about your blending subtle colors and softness. Doesn't that look cool? Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. One of the biggest mistakes the colorists make when they're coloring is they try to force their colors. And when you force your colors, they begin to not work with each other. You've got to understand the subtleties of coloring, guys. Rhonda understands the subtleties. Zoom out. And if you guys look carefully, you can see that light. There's my light brown right there. Do you see it? And then my darker brown is around here, and then my darkest brown is in the shadows. Everybody see that? And this is where you can go back now and tweak a little bit. Guys, you gotta quit trying to make a statement with your coloring. Wina says, OMG, this picture I'm working on, it's almost like drawing the picture from scratch, lots of work. Yep. Now I'm coming in with my darkest brown, and I'm going to play with the colors a little bit. Everybody see how I've added this bridge from here to here? Zoom in. You know what though, Wanda, when you tell me something like that, when you say, oh my gosh, this is lots of work, that's telling me that you're adding all your special touches to it. Okay guys, see, I'm just going to bring this down a little bit and then angle it down. Now I'm just playing with my colors and my shading. So you can always go back now and add your special little touches to it. Now don't get too carried away. And also remember, listen to me carefully, this dark color that I put on initially, because I'm putting it now on top of my other colors that I put on here, is not going to be as dark. It's going to create a different color. Keep that in mind. Wanda, when do you have to turn in your picture? Did you guys catch my comment about what's happening to my darkest color now that I'm putting it on top of my medium and my light? The 17th? Oh, you got plenty of time. Good. Oh man, this is so pretty. Zoom out. Zoom out. You'll be working on her face till the 16th. Shoot me. Ooh, don't give away what it is, sweetie. Shoot me progress pictures once in a while. I would just be curious. Okay, what do you guys think of this bucket now? All right, I want to do this handle because I want to show you a little neat. I just want to play with a color combination. Zoom in. Let's see here. Let me turn this way. Anybody have any questions or comments about what I've done so far? Oh, I forgot. Good grief. You know how wood has those little dot imperfections? I'm going to add a few of those on here. So, you know how wood has the little Mars in them? Kind of like my apples. Okay. So I want to do that handle for you. So for my lightest color, now I'm going to do my lightest color first. Zoom in. And then I'm going to blend accordingly. Now, sometimes you guys have seen me, I'll take my lightest color and I'll go over everything. and then go back and do my medium and my dark, you can do that as well. Wanda, you've done that, haven't you? As you've used your lightest color and gone over everything. And what that does is that creates a base, a wax base. And actually, I'm going to do that with this piece. I'm going to color the whole piece in my light color. And that's because my next color that I put on there, I wanted to interact with that. So that would be one of the reasons that you do that. And as you can see, you can still perfectly see the different shades. So now I'm going to come in with this reddish pink. As my medium color. Anybody have any questions about why I'm doing it this way? Now, if you want to, notice how I'm spending a lot of time coloring over my area. If you are happy with the shading using two colors, sometimes that's fine. But with this, I'm going to still use my 3. You're going to get your best depth and dimension by using 3. But sometimes you may have something super simple, like this handle. All right. if you need to go back with your lightest color and re-emphasize a spot, that's fine. Boy, that music's pretty. And now I'm going to come back with, let's see what we got here. Da, 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 da. I'm going to come back with a little bit of brown. And I'm just going to go over the edges. And I'm going to darken in the area right next to the metal of the handle. And remember, it's all about blending. You don't want that stark line around the outside. So I'm going to go back with my medium color. And I'm going to blend in that dark outline. And I want you to think about this with that dark, like the petals that I did. That by adding that shadow in there, it makes everything pop. And if your highlighted area is too bright, sorry, I was inching off camera, go back with your medium color and very, very gently color over it. And that'll bring it into line with everything else. Does that make sense? I keep trying to brush off those dots that I put on the wood. Oh my. I'm such a dork sometimes. And I'm going to take a little bit of my white pencil and just blush it on there. See that? Whoop, make a little smiley. Everybody see that? Trust me guys, as you do this coloring, these techniques will become second nature to you. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. What do you think, guys? The key to grayscale is blending. And what I want to point out again to you is this. These apples right here, you could do this in line art and have it come out as beautiful. This is why I want you, listen to me very carefully. Kathy, Dorothy, Rhonda, Wanda, once you perfect grayscale, your line art coloring will improve 1,000%, because you will start doing stuff like this. And you'll start looking for those darker areas and mediums and lights. And you'll start blending them together better. Right? I love how that handle turned out. Does that make sense? And I promise you that if you practice this, your skill level will come up beautifully with it. But what I'm saying, and I'm going to use these apples as an example, if you run into a line art coloring, you should be able to do this exact same thing on line art where you don't have the light, medium, and dark areas delineated for you. And I want you to start looking at, boy, that little petal looks funny where I made it concave for you. Oh well. I want you, when you're coloring, to look at things like this and look for your dark, medium, and light areas and not just color in one-dimensionally, okay? Any questions or comments? And I'm also going to tell you again that as you're doing this stuff, when you try it out for the first time, you may not get exactly the results of this. Do you honestly think that I did this coming right out of the gate? No, I had to work up to these apples and practice and play and the whole bit. So knock it off this being self-critical, okay? You've really got to stop that. That's the biggest thing that's holding you guys back from working good colorings, okay? I'm going to keep on you until my last breath about this. Okay? I keep saying, okay, okay, okay. I sound like a parrot. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, yeah. All right. And I'll tell you what. I am so proud. I want you to look at Rhonda Green's work. She had never done that level of work. She just did, I think it was gel pens. That's all she did. And she turned out that beautiful, beautiful hobo. And she knocked the boat scene out of the park. She used colored pencils. She didn't use charcoal. And as she learns the coloring and the shading and the different effects and the blending, that kind of work, she's going to start popping it out on line art. All right, guys, love you. I love those apples. And the bucket handle. Oh, my. Alright guys, this is ILene Vick for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Guys, joyous, joyous coloring. Relax, relax, enjoy. Paint with your pencils. And Wanda, thank you so much for adding your tips and techniques on how you color your grayscale. I'm very grateful that you are doing that. Good night, Rita. Love you guys. And be kind to each other, okay? All right. You take care. Dorothy, good night. Love you. Have a good evening, guys. Bye.